We've seen good decisions, we've seen bad decisions. Nevertheless, we are back in the courtroom on gun shows in California. This time we're challenging to the Ninth Circuit en banc panel. Let's talk about it. Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel today. Litigation for Second Amendment in California and the Ninth Circuit back in full swing. We have another petition to the Ninth Circuit en banc. Here to talk about it with us today is Chuck Michelle. Chuck, thank you very much for being with us today.
Oh, it's a pleasure, guys. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. And before we get into that, guys, please, as always, like, share, and subscribe to these videos. It really helps us with the algorithms to get this message out there. We're trying to get it out to as many people as possible, especially with these general elections coming up. So, Chuck, this is one that actually is pretty near and dear to my heart because I did a lot of advocating at fair board meetings when you had all of these groups like Moms Demand Action, Brady Campaign, all of them trying to lobby these fair boards to remove contracts from gun shows. They weren't able to do it there. They took it to their legislators, and the legislators made some laws. Those laws we end up challenging in court. But there were several challenges. So can you go ahead and put a bow on this for us? Of the lawsuits that have been filed, which one are we talking about, and what's led to us petitioning the Ninth Circuit en banc?
Well, remember last year we filed one. There's been three. Last year we filed the first one and we won. We got an injunction against this is Senator Mims' brainchild. He believes that gun shows are a breeding ground for toxic masculinity, and also that he can get a lot of name recognition if he attacks them and demonizes them. So he passed a law. We beat it down. That banned gun shows entirely. And we won that one, and that was final. So then he passed a new law, first banning gun shows, banning the sale of firearms at fairgrounds in Del Mar, and then he passed one that banned the sale of guns at gun shows all across the state. So we filed a lawsuit against the Del Mar case, and we filed a lawsuit at Orange County against the statewide ban, and we won one and lost one. We got an injunction issued, and so the gun shows went back into business. They had one in January, thanks to CRPA, and now the state, when we appealed the loss, the state appealed the win. They both went up to the Ninth Circuit 3-judge panel. The 3-judge panel consolidated those cases, heard them together, and then just recently ruled that the gun show ban was not a First Amendment or a Second Amendment violation. They completely misapplied the Bruin test and the First Amendment, the relevant First Amendment tests. So they've set it up so that you can have a gun show. You can have guns on the table. You can offer them for sale, but no one can actually accept the offer and say, yes, I want to buy that gun, which raises a whole bunch of interesting issues. Like, I guess we're going to set up a cell phone purchase booth off the county fairgrounds so people can then call in and accept from off-site because they're not on the fairgrounds. It gets a bit ridiculous. But to avoid all of that and those shenanigans, we've just asked the Ninth Circuit en banc panel, that would be an 11-judge panel, to rehear the matter and strike down the 3-judge panel, because we were definitely sandbagged by some anti-gun owner judges there who bought into a bunch of the baloney that was being presented about how bad gun shows are. Never mind, there's no crimes at gun shows. I mean, people get into fights or something like that, like they do at any fairground, any fair, or anything else. But it's not like people are buying guns illegally. All guns at gun shows have to go through the background check, just like you do at a retail store. There's no so-called gun show loophole in California. Every gun sold at a gun show goes through a background check and has a 10-day waiting period. So there's no gun crimes. And when we they claim there were, and when we asked them what they are, they couldn't identify them. So there's a bunch of lies to demonize gun shows and ban them, because it's all part of the attempt by the gun ban lobby to murder, and Gavin Newsom, to murder the gun culture. They don't want there to be gun stores. They don't want there to be gun shows. They don't want there to be gun ranges. They don't want people to be able to own guns. They want to make it too expensive to own a gun. They want to red tape the right to death. It's all because they want to wipe out gun ownership within a generation or two, preferably one in their minds. And so if you can't go there and in a comfortable environment and, you know, have a hot dog. By the way, most of the booths at a gun show, 70% of the booths aren't guns. They're beef jerky and books and you know, all kinds of, it's like a flea market with a few with about 30% of the tables selling guns or ammunition. So people go there though, and they, for the first time, some of these folks see a gun that haven't been into a gun store, and they get to learn about firearms and firearm safety. There's classes that take place at these things on gun laws and gun safety. I mean, this is a true First Amendment assembly, you know, the right to assemble, and the state doesn't like it. So they've done everything they can to try and put a stop to them. But so far they other than this one 3-judge panel, they have not succeeded. So we'll be working on ways for the gun show to go on in the meantime. But we've also filed that petition yesterday for the en banc panel to hear the case. And there are some very good judges on the Ninth Circuit that could be on this en banc panel that we think would see it our way.
Well, you're certainly not going to get like a disagreement from me as far as what you're talking about. The overarching goal is there is something that I'm kind of constantly curious about, not just about this lawsuit, but lawsuits in general. And so, I mean, it's no surprise. Senator Min is no friend to the Second Amendment. He campaigned on being anti-2A, and I mean, if you want any evidence as to where that gets you, of course, a DUI doesn't help you, but Senator Min did get primaried earlier this year. He will not be legislating in the next session. However, can you describe for me a little bit? I mean, is this common in most lawsuits? You have the political side of it saying, I'm trying to end gun shows. You have people lobbying at the fair boards. We need to end gun shows. But when it comes down to writing the law and then arguing that law in a courtroom, that's not we're not talking about ending gun shows. Now, what you read in these court documents is, well, you can have gun shows, you just can't sell the gun. And I know how ridiculous that sounds. You know, it's like you can have a carrot store, you can offer carrots for sale, but you can't actually sell carrots to anybody. I think anybody who's using logic, you know, would think, okay, well, yeah, that's getting rid of the gun shows, but that's not what's actually being argued. Is there often a difference in what the public eye or the public argument is on any individual topic and what's being argued in the courtroom?
Always. I mean, every piece of legislation has some catchy, popular title that has nothing to do with what the law actually does. You know, it's the Save the Children law, and it, encourages some kind of sex education in school or something. I mean, they always hide behind a benign sounding title. And in this case, this was legislative animus. Mims set out and said so in his press conferences before he pushed the law to ban gun shows and stifle the speech at gun shows. Now, he couldn't do that directly because we beat him the time when he tried to do it directly. So he had to do it indirectly by trying to ban the sale of guns on county property. But that effectively, in his mind, he knew, bans gun shows because there's no money in it. If you can't sell the guns, the people won't rent the booths. So, yeah, that game is played with every kind of bill. Make it sound like something that it's not.
Well, I mean, there's been a lot of effort and a lot of labor put into this. Again, speaking from my own experience in the advocacy, then in the legislation, now in the litigation, we've got several lawsuits that have already kind of culminated to this. So I guess, what are your final thoughts on this? Where do you see this lawsuit going?
This is another case. If we do not, en banc review is discretionary. If we don't get it, we will be asking the Supreme Court to take this case. And this is a two-header. It's a double header. That's a First Amendment and a Second Amendment challenge. Both of those doctrines have been turned on their heads by the 3-judge panel in their zeal to try and ban gun shows. So it's hopefully we'll get the en banc review, and we'll be doing more briefs there with that en banc panel. And we really need support for that. Again, we CRPA gets nonprofit rates from our lawyers. They are very generous, but it still takes time, and that costs money. So we need support. And if it goes to the Supreme Court, we'll be asking again. Sorry, guys. I mean, I know I know that this is frustrating. You have to keep fighting in the trenches over every inch, but that's what this is. This is a scorched earth battle. And it's part of a larger battle that's going on across the country for the soul of America. I mean, guns are the tip of the spear, and they know that they can't have a government that they want, whether it's socialist or something worse. If people can resist tyranny with, firearms. We're nowhere near that point, but ultimately, as the government becomes bigger and bigger and bigger and imposes more and more and more restrictions on people's freedoms and liberties, they don't want people to have the option of resisting the government tyranny. So they want to wipe us out, and we need to fight back in every battleground there is. There's a huge war, but there's a lot of battles, and CRPA is fighting a lot of them. So whatever support you can give for us to keep up this fight would be greatly appreciated.
Well, whether it's taken up by the 9th Circuit en banc or it's a petition to the Supreme Court, certainly something that we're going to be following along with, trying to bring to you as soon as the next thing happens. Chuck, I know there's a lot of litigation going on right now. I know you're a busy guy, so I want to thank you very much for coming on with us today.
Always happy to make time for you fellas, and help. Thanks for getting the word out.
Absolutely. And guys, if you like videos like this and want to continue seeing these litigative updates, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. It really helps boost the channel, build off the algorithms, and get this message out to as many people as possible. So thanks again, guys, and we'll see you on the next one.